You know the exact feeling. It's late. The world around you has finally gone quiet, but the machinery inside your head refuses to shut down. You are staring at a screen, or perhaps at the ceiling, feeling an exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. It's not a physical exhaustion. It's the weight of carrying an entire world on your shoulders without ever asking for help. You pride yourself on this. You call it independence. You wear your self-reliance like a badge of invisible armor. When people look at you, they see someone who is strong, reliable, and entirely unshakable. They see someone who has it all together. But tonight, let's be entirely honest with each other. Why does your strength feel so much like a prison? There is a profound, dangerous paradox at the center of your life. The qualities that make you appear incredibly powerful to the outside world are the exact same mechanisms that are quietly breaking you on the inside. You have mastered the art of silent power. You have learned to navigate chaos without making a sound, how to fix crises before anyone else even notices a problem, and how to survive environments that would have crushed lighter souls. But here is the question you've been avoiding. What did it cost you to become this strong? Most people spend their entire lives chasing power, thinking it means dominance, status, or control over others. They learn too late that the most intoxicating, yet lethal form of power is the one born from complete isolation. It is a quiet, devastating sovereignty. We are going to open a door you've kept locked for a very long time. In this video, we are going to unpack the 3 laws of silent power, the unspoken rules that govern the lives of those who learned to survive by becoming invisible. By the end of this, you will understand exactly why you feel so profoundly lonely, even when you're surrounded by people who love you. More importantly, you will discover the hidden trap built into your hyper-independence, a trap that you are stepping into at this very moment without even realizing it. If you have always felt like the designated savior of your world, pay close attention, because the very walls you built to protect yourself have become the walls keeping you from ever being truly known. To understand how you trapped yourself in this silent fortress, we have to look beneath the surface of your conscious mind. This isn't a personality trait, it's a beautifully engineered survival strategy. In psychology, what you call independence is often recognized as hyper-independence. It is a trauma response, a defense mechanism born from an environment where the people who were supposed to support you were either unpredictable, emotionally absent, or overwhelmed. When a child's environment is unstable, the nervous system undergoes a profound shift. This is linked to attachment theory, specifically the dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant attachment styles. You internalized a fundamental unspoken truth. If I want it done right, I have to do it myself. If I need comfort, I must provide it to myself. To rely on someone else is to invite betrayal. This manifests through a phenomenon known as neuroception, the subconscious way your nervous system scans the environment for safety or threat. Your brain mapped vulnerability as a profound danger. When you open up to someone, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, fires exactly as if you were facing a physical predator. To shut down that alarm, your brain triggers a pattern interrupt. It forces you to retreat into silence. You isolate. You become cold. You convince yourself that you don't need anyone anyway. Consider the metaphor of a castle. A king builds massive stone walls and a deep moat, not because he loves isolation, but because he anticipates an invasion. The tragedy of the hyper-independent person is that they spend so much time fortifying the castle that they forget how to lower the drawbridge. They end up ruling over an absolute emptiness. Here is the reframe you didn't see coming. Your absolute self-reliance isn't a sign of high self-esteem. It is a sophisticated form of intimacy avoidance. It is a subconscious shield used to protect a deeply wounded ego that believes it is fundamentally unlovable unless it is performing, fixing, or saving. You don't trust the world to hold you, so you hold yourself until your knuckles turn white. This brings us to the first law of silent power, the law of complete emotional self-containment. You learned this law too early. You learned that your negative emotions were an inconvenience to the people around you. When you were sad, you were told you were too sensitive. When you were angry, you were told you were dramatic. So, you made a silent pact with yourself. You decided that your inner world would become a black box. Nothing gets out, nothing breaks through. But let's look at the hidden cost. Let's expose the pain you try so desperately to hide behind your stoic mask. Think about how much energy it takes to maintain that silence. Think about the sheer, agonizing weight of having a panic attack in a bathroom stall, washing your face with cold water, looking in the mirror, and walking back out into the world with a perfect smile. Who holds the person who holds everyone else? Who listens to the one who listens to everyone's problems? The answer is no one. And the bitter truth is, you designed it that way. The 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote about the concept of the Übermensch, the individual who creates their own values and rises above the herd, completely self-contained. But Nietzsche also warned of the profound, crushing loneliness that accompanies such height. When you elevate yourself above the need for human connection, you don't actually become a god, you just become a ghost. You have created a devastating identity conflict. There is the you that the world sees, invincible, capable, flawless, and there is the real you, an exhausted child inside a heavily armored suit, desperately wishing someone would notice how heavy the armor is, yet absolutely terrified that someone might actually try to take it off. You became someone who is entirely safe from the world, but completely detached from it. You traded the risk of being hurt for the absolute certainty of being alone. Because this survival pattern is so deeply wired into your psychology, it dictates your adult life in ways you barely notice anymore. Let's look into the mirror and call out the behaviors you've accepted as normal. You become someone who refuses to ask for help, even when you are drowning. If someone offers, your immediate knee-jerk reaction is to say, "No, I'm good, I've got it," even if your hands are shaking from the stress. You might spend hours or days agonizing over a minor problem that someone else could solve in 5 minutes, simply because the act of asking feels like a humiliating admission of weakness. You become the person who vanishes when things get tough. When you are overwhelmed, you don't reach out, you withdraw, you ghost your friends, you isolate yourself in your room, and you only reappear when you have successfully processed the pain on your own. You possess an almost supernatural ability to read the room. You notice the slight shift in someone's tone, the micro-expression of annoyance on a partner's face, the subtle change in a colleague's posture. You are hyper-vigilant, constantly reading the environment to anticipate needs so you can prevent conflict before it even starts. You became an obsessive fixer. When someone you love is hurting, you don't just offer empathy, you offer an analytical, step-by-step solution. You treat relationships like engineering problems to be solved, because sitting with raw, unfixable emotion feels entirely too dangerous. You feel an intense underlying guilt whenever you try to rest. To you, unproductivity feels like a vulnerability. If you aren't doing, producing, or helping, you feel completely worthless. Look at these behaviors clearly. They are not flaws, They are not evidence that you are broken. They are brilliant, creative adaptations. You adopted these traits because at one point in your life, they kept you safe. Hypervigilance kept you safe from unpredictable parents. Silence kept you safe from emotional abuse. Fixers don't get abandoned. But you are no longer in that childhood home. You are no longer trapped in that unstable environment. You are practicing a survival strategy for a war that ended years ago.
True power, the kind that does not destroy the person wielding it, does not live in silence. It lives in integration. It is the ability to be incredibly strong while maintaining the capacity to be profoundly soft. To break the curse of this silent power, you must learn to live by a new set of laws. The transformation begins with radical awareness. You must stop labeling your hyper-independence as a virtue. The next time you find yourself rejecting an offer of help, stop. Notice the physical sensation in your chest. Acknowledge the fear. Name it for what it is. I am afraid that if I accept help, I will owe this person or they will see me as weak. Bring the shadow into the light. The second step is inner child reparenting. You must turn that immense capacity for caregiving inward. The child inside you learned that they were only valuable for what they could do, not for who they were. You need to sit with that part of yourself and explicitly tell them, you don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to save anyone today. You are allowed to just exist, and you are worthy of love even when you are completely empty. Third, you must practice the terrifying art of micro-vulnerability. You do not need to tear down your entire castle overnight. Start with lowering the drawbridge just an inch. The next time a trusted friend asks how you are doing, instead of your default response of "I'm fine," try saying, "Honestly, I've had a really heavy week and I'm feeling pretty exhausted." This simple act breaks the isolation. It teaches your nervous system that the world can witness your shadow without abandoning you. As the legendary psychologist Carl Rogers once observed, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. You have spent your entire life trying to change yourself into an unbreakable object so that the world couldn't hurt you. Healing happens when you finally accept your own fragile, beautiful humanity. The final law of silent power is this: true sovereignty is not found in never needing anyone. It is found in having the immense courage to need someone, knowing you are strong enough to survive if they leave. You have proven to yourself 1,000 times over that you can survive the darkness alone. You already know how to be a survivor. Now it is time to learn how to live. You can put the armor down now. The war is over. If these words touched a place in you that you usually keep hidden, if they named a pain you've never been able to put into words, send this video to someone who feels exactly like this but can't explain why. Let them know without saying a word that they have been seen.